Imagine losing your job for simply being kind. Sounds unfair, right? But what if that very moment led you to the biggest opportunity of your life? In this video, you'll see how one small gesture toward Keanu Reeves turned a struggling waitress into a rising star. Watch till the end. This is a story you don't want to miss. Welcome my YouTube channel Storytime. Please don't forget like, subscribe and share. Girl is fired for helping Keanu Reeves. Next day she gets news that changed her life. Sophia Carter had been working at the elegant Café Milano in Los Angeles for 2 years. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but she took pride in her work. At 25, she dreamed of becoming an actress, but until then, she waited tables, served expensive lattes, and smiled at high-profile customers who barely noticed her. That all changed one fateful afternoon. Sophia was on shift when Keanu Reeves walked into the cafe. The entire place buzzed with excitement. Keanu was a legend, not just as an actor but as a kind-hearted celebrity who treated people with respect. Unlike other A-listers who hid behind sunglasses and bodyguards, he walked in like any regular customer, wearing a simple leather jacket and jeans. He ordered a black coffee and took a seat in the corner by the window. Sophia could see he looked tired, possibly having one of those days where a person just needed a little kindness. When she brought him his coffee, she hesitated for a second before speaking. "Mr. Reeves, I just want to say, your movies inspire me." "You inspire me," she said, her voice soft but sincere. Keanu looked up and smiled warmly. "That means a lot. Thank you." She was about to walk away when she noticed him struggling to open a small packet of sugar. Without thinking, she reached over and helped him. It was such a simple gesture, one she would do for any customer, but the moment it happened, her manager, Lisa, stormed over. "Sophia, a word," Lisa said sharply, pulling her away. The moment they reached the back of the cafe, Lisa's eyes flashed with anger. "What do you think you're doing? You know we have strict policies about interacting with celebrities. You don't talk to them unless they talk to you first. And you definitely don't interfere with their personal space." Sophia's heart pounded. "I was just helping him. It was just sugar. I don't care. This cafe is about professionalism, and you crossed a line. You're fired." Sophia's mouth fell open. "Fired? For helping someone?" Lisa folded her arms. "He could have complained. Celebrities have power. You put the cafe's reputation at risk." Tears burned at the edges of Sophia's eyes. She turned to glance at Keanu, who was looking in their direction with a concerned expression. She didn't want to make a scene, so she nodded stiffly, untied her apron, and walked out. Little did she know, fate had something much bigger in store for her. Sophia stepped out of Café Milano, the cool Los Angeles breeze brushing against her face. She clutched her apron in her hands, her heart pounding with a mix of anger, sadness, and disbelief. Fired. Just like that. Over something so small. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had worked so hard to keep that job, juggling long shifts while attending auditions that led nowhere. Now, she had nothing. As she walked down the street, lost in thought, she heard someone call out. "Sophia, wait." She turned to see Keanu Reeves jogging toward her. Her breath caught in her throat. "Mr. Reeves?" she asked, confused. "I saw what happened," he said, his voice filled with genuine concern. "That wasn't right." She forced a small smile. "It's okay. I guess I should have been more careful. I didn't mean to break any rules." Keanu shook his head. "You didn't do anything wrong. You were kind. And kindness shouldn't be punished." Sophia shrugged. "Try telling that to my ex-boss." Keanu studied her for a moment before asking, "What do you really want to do? I mean, beyond the cafe?" She hesitated. Telling Keanu Reeves about her acting dreams felt almost embarrassing. But something about him, the way he genuinely seemed to care, made her speak the truth. "I want to be an actress," she admitted. "But it's hard. I go to auditions, but I never get callbacks. I needed that job to survive while I kept trying." Keanu smiled slightly. "Acting is tough. I know what rejection feels like. But sometimes, opportunities come from the most unexpected places." Sophia nodded, not really expecting much. "Yeah, I guess." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small card. "This is my assistant's number. Call her tomorrow. I might know someone who could help." Sophia stared at the card in disbelief. Was this really happening? "Are you serious?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Keanu grinned. "Absolutely. Talent deserves a chance." With that, he gave her a friendly nod and walked away, leaving Sophia standing on the sidewalk, clutching the card like it was a golden ticket. Had she just gotten fired, only to receive the biggest opportunity of her life? She wouldn't know for sure until she made that call. Sophia barely slept that night. She lay in bed, staring at the small business card Keanu Reeves had given her. It felt unreal. Was this really happening? Or was it some cruel trick fate was playing on her? By morning, nerves twisted in her stomach, but she knew she had to make the call. With trembling fingers, she dialed the number. "Hello?" a professional voice answered. Hi. My name is Sophia Carter. Keanu Reeves gave me this number and said I should call." There was a brief pause before the woman on the other end responded warmly, Yes. Mr. Reeves mentioned you. I'm Claire, his assistant. He asked me to set up a meeting for you with someone in the industry. Can you come to Paramount Studios this afternoon?" Sophia's breath hitched. Paramount Studios? That was where real actors worked. "Yes. Absolutely," she said, her voice cracking with excitement. "Great. Be there at 3 p.m. I'll meet you at the front gate." After the call ended, Sophia sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone. This was real. This was happening. She spent the next few hours choosing the perfect outfit, something professional but not over the top. By the time she arrived at Paramount Studios, her heart was pounding. Claire, a kind-looking woman in her 40s, greeted her at the entrance. "You must be Sophia," she said with a smile. "Yes," Sophia said, trying not to sound too breathless. "Follow me. There's someone who wants to meet you." They walked through the studio lot, past massive sound stages and actors in costume. It was like stepping into another world. Finally, they reached a sleek glass office. Claire knocked, then opened the door. Inside, a man in his 50s, wearing a sharp suit, looked up from his desk. "Sophia, meet David Kessler," Claire said. "He's a casting director and a close friend of Mr. Reeves." Sophia's eyes widened. David Kessler was a legend in Hollywood, known for casting major films. David smiled. "Keanu spoke very highly of you. He said you have a great attitude and deserve a shot." Sophia swallowed hard. That's incredible. I don't even know what to say." David chuckled. "Well, how about saying yes to an audition?" Sophia's heart nearly stopped. "An audition?" she echoed. David nodded. "I'm casting for a new film, and we need fresh talent. I'd love to see what you can do." Sophia's hands shook slightly, but she grinned. "Yes. Absolutely, yes." She had walked into the cafe yesterday as a waitress. Now, she was standing in a Hollywood office, being offered the chance of a lifetime. And it was all because of a simple act of kindness. Sophia could barely believe what was happening. Less than 24 hours ago, she had been a waitress, struggling to make ends meet. Now, she was standing in the office of one of Hollywood's top casting directors, being offered an audition. David Kessler leaned back in his chair, studying her. "I can see you're nervous, but don't worry. Keanu wouldn't have sent you here if he didn't believe in you. Let's see what you've got." Sophia took a deep breath. "What's the role?" David smiled. "It's for a supporting character in a drama film we're producing. It's not a lead role, but it's important. The character is a young woman struggling to find her place in the world, someone with big dreams but tough circumstances." Sophia almost laughed. "That sounds oddly familiar." David smirked. "That's what I thought too." He handed her a script. "Take a few minutes to look it over. We'll do a cold read." Sophia's hands trembled slightly as she took the pages. She found a quiet corner of the office and scanned the lines. The scene was intense, a confrontation between the character and her older sister, where she expressed frustration about always being overlooked. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "This is it. This is my chance." When she returned to the center of the room, David gave her an encouraging nod. "Whenever you're ready." Sophia exhaled, then launched into the scene. At first, she felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her, but as she spoke the words, she felt something shift. The character's emotions weren't so different from her own. The frustration, the longing, the determination, they were all things she had felt in her own life. By the time she finished, there was a heavy silence in the room. David leaned forward, studying her carefully. Then, a slow smile spread across his face. "That was really impressive." Sophia's breath caught. "Really?" He nodded. "You have raw talent. You need training, sure, but that was honest. It was real." Claire, who had been watching from the corner, clapped softly. "I felt that too." David tapped his fingers on the desk. "I want to bring you in for a screen test. Nothing's guaranteed, but you've got something special, Sophia." Sophia's heart pounded. A screen test. That was a massive step forward. "Thank you," she whispered. "I won't let you down." David grinned. "I have a feeling you won't." As Sophia left the office, she felt like she was floating. Less than a day ago, she had been fired from her cafe job for simply helping someone. And now, that same act of kindness had led her to the opportunity of a lifetime. No matter what happened next, she knew one thing for sure: this was just the beginning. Sophia barely had time to process what had happened before she was thrown into the whirlwind of preparation for her screen test. Claire sent her an email with all the details: where to go, what to wear, and even a few notes on the character she'd be auditioning for. The next few days were a blur. Sophia practiced endlessly, reciting lines in front of the mirror, recording herself, and even calling an old acting coach she had taken a few lessons from years ago. She knew this was her shot, and she wasn't going to waste it. On the morning of the screen test, she arrived at the studio early, clutching a copy of the script in her trembling hands. The waiting room was filled with other actresses, all looking confident and prepared. Doubt crept in. Was she really ready for this? Before she could spiral into anxiety, she felt a light tap on her shoulder. She turned and gasped. Keanu Reeves stood before her, smiling warmly. "Keanu?" she whispered, completely shocked. "What are you doing here?" "I wanted to check in on you," he said. "David told me you had your screen test today. How are you feeling?" Sophia let out a nervous laugh. "Terrified." Keanu chuckled. "That's normal. But remember, this isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about showing them who you are. Be honest, be real, and don't hold back." Sophia took a deep breath and nodded. "Thank you. For everything." Keanu squeezed her shoulder. "You've got this." Minutes later, her name was called. She stepped into the audition room, where David Kessler and a few producers sat behind a long table. A camera was set up, and a man stood to the side, ready to read the other characters' lines. "Whenever you're ready," David said. Sophia took a deep breath, grounding herself. Then, she launched into the scene. This time, she didn't hold back. She let herself feel every emotion, the frustration, the desperation, the hope. She wasn't just reciting lines, she was living the moment. By the time she finished, the room was silent. David exchanged looks with the producers, then turned back to her with a smile. That was incredible. Sophia's heart pounded. The lead producer leaned forward. "We'll be in touch soon." Sophia left the room, her hands shaking. She had done her best. Now, all she could do was wait. 2 days later, her phone rang. She answered, her breath hitching. "Sophia?" David's voice came through the line. "Congratulations. You got the role." The world seemed to stop. Tears welled in her eyes. "Are you serious?" David chuckled. "Absolutely. You earned it." Sophia dropped onto her couch, overwhelmed with emotion. Just days ago, she had been fired from a cafe for a simple act of kindness. Now, she was about to start her career as an actress. And it was all thanks to Keanu Reeves. Thank you for watching. If you like this story, please don't forget like, subscribe and share. Please, I need 1K subscriber. Please support me all guys. Sophia could hardly believe it. She had just been cast in a Hollywood film. A few days ago, she was a struggling waitress, fired for something as small as helping Keanu Reeves. Now, she was preparing for her first ever role in a major movie. The excitement, however, quickly turned into nervousness as the reality of filming set in. The moment she stepped onto the studio set, she was surrounded by professional actors, directors, and crew members who had been doing this for years. Sophia felt like an outsider, a newcomer who had somehow stumbled into a world where she didn't belong. As she stood near the makeup trailer, adjusting her costume, she suddenly heard a familiar voice behind her. "Nervous?" She turned to see Keanu Reeves standing there, his signature warm smile on his face. Sophia let out a nervous laugh. "Terrified?" Keanu chuckled. "Good. That means you care." Sophia sighed. "What if I mess up? What if I don't belong here?" Keanu placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Listen, everyone starts somewhere. The only thing that matters is that you give it your all. You already proved yourself at the audition. Now, just trust yourself." Sophia nodded, taking a deep breath. "Okay. I'll do my best." With Keanu's words in her heart, she walked onto the set, ready to face the camera for the first time. Lights. Camera. Action. Sophia took her position on set, her heart pounding as cameras, lights, and crew members surrounded her. The director called out, "Action," and suddenly, she was no longer Sophia Carter, the struggling waitress, she was her character, living in the world of the film. Her first scene was an emotional one, an argument with the lead actress, where she had to express deep frustration and pain. As the scene began, she focused on the emotions that had driven her own journey, the rejection, the self-doubt, the feeling of being overlooked. It all poured into her performance. When the scene ended, there was a brief silence. Then, the director smiled. "That was fantastic," he said. A wave of relief washed over Sophia as the crew clapped lightly. She had done it. She had stepped into the world of acting, and she had held her own. Throughout the next few weeks, Sophia worked harder than ever. She studied her lines, observed experienced actors, and took notes from the director. She even had a few moments where she doubted herself, but every time she felt uncertain, she remembered Keanu's words, "Trust yourself." One afternoon, as she sat reviewing her script, she noticed Keanu watching from a distance. He had been on set, quietly observing, and he gave her a thumbs up. Sophia smiled, feeling grateful. She wasn't just living her dream, she was proving to herself that she deserved to be here. Months later, the film was finally completed, and Sophia was invited to its Hollywood premiere. She had never attended a red carpet event before, and when she arrived, the flashing cameras and cheering fans felt surreal. She was no longer just a girl serving coffee, she was part of something bigger. As she walked down the red carpet in a stunning gown, reporters began asking about her journey. One interviewer asked, "Sophia, your story is inspiring. You went from being a waitress to starring in a major film. How does it feel?" Sophia smiled, thinking back to that day at the cafe, the moment she lost everything, only to gain something even greater. "It feels like fate," she said. "One small act of kindness changed my life forever. And I'll always be grateful for that." The movie premiered, and as the credits rolled, Sophia's name appeared on the big screen. Sitting in the audience, she felt tears well up in her eyes. She had made it. After the show, as she stepped outside, she saw Keanu Reeves waiting for her. He smiled. "Told you that you had something special." Sophia laughed. "I guess you were right." Keanu extended his hand for a handshake, but Sophia hugged him instead. "Thank you," she whispered. He patted her back. "You earned this. Now, go show the world what you can do." As Sophia looked up at the glowing Hollywood lights, she realized that this was just the beginning. She wasn't just a girl with a dream anymore, she was an actress. And it all started with a simple act of kindness. Thank you for watching. God bless you and your family. Please like, subscribe and share if you like this story.